What is up, awesome people of the internet? Guys, sometimes it's just important to remember that the WNBA is a business. So teams make business decisions. So sometimes you just got to suck it up, Buttercup, because, it is what it is. Now, guys, in this video, I want to talk about Jennifer Rizzotti and specifically what she said in an interview yesterday. But before we do, I actually want to give y'all just a quick backstory about Jennifer Rizzotti. If y'all don't know, currently she is the president of the Connecticut Sun, and she is someone who lives and breathes Connecticut, right? She was born in New York, but she grew up in Connecticut. Went to high school in Connecticut. Ended up going to the University of Connecticut, aka UConn. Won a national championship there. She ended up getting drafted in the WNBA in 1999. Played for the Houston Comets. Won 2 championships with them. Also played for the Cleveland Rockers as well. After her playing career was over, she decided to get into coaching. Coached for Hartford, coached for George Washington, and now she is a head coach for 3x3 basketball for the United States, and actually just won 3x3 Coach of the Year from Team USA after getting Team USA women's 3x3 team to the bronze medal title in terms of the most recent Olympics. So, and also she actually coaches her son's basketball team as well with Rebecca Lobo, which is kind of fun. That is kind of fun. Again, both of those players, people used to play for UConn, so there's just always this UConn connection, man. Can't get around UConn. You really just can't. Anyway, the reason why I wanted to just give y'all that quick backstory is that Jennifer, it's just to really just show that Jennifer Rizzotti is Connecticut basketball, right? She's in the Connecticut Basketball Hall of Fame, right? She is someone who just understands what Connecticut is all about when it comes to women's basketball, and is doing stuff with that perspective, okay, of continuing to elevate and ensure that Connecticut basketball continues to be interesting, fun, and exciting, and hopefully championship winning in the future. So, with that in mind, I want to get into specifically the conversation that she had with Howard Megdal yesterday. And in that conversation, we were able to learn some new stuff. We were able to learn some new stuff about the decision around first getting Marina Mabrey and the decision around where this stalemate is in between Marina Mabrey wanting to leave and Jennifer Rizzotti being like, nah, you stand here. You stand here for another year. All right, so let's get into that conversation.
I took this job in April of 21, and Kurt Miller was still the coach here. And we were talking then about what the length of our championship window looked like, right? And we were looking to re-sign Jonquel. She agreed to come back and for one more year to give it a run. Last year, we were in the same situation. We had Alyssa and Brianna under contract for one more year. We were asking DeWanda to come back and give it one more run. So we've known now for 3 years that we've extended this championship window probably a lot longer than people would have expected us to. And so we were making decisions in 23 and 24 to win now. That was it. We're going to win now. So making that trade midseason last year for Marina was a win now trade, right? It was a decision in that moment that we had this window. It was closing. We knew Dewana, Alyssa, and Breezy were coming off of contract, and we had to make decisions to win now. And so, I think at the end of the day, we tried to look at this offseason as we knew that window was closing. Let's open up a new window and a new door and think about retooling the roster in a way for the future. And I think every team in the league right now is either in a win now mentality or they're in a build for the future mentality. And you can still be competitive and retool your roster creatively to win without completely rebuilding. And I think Morgan and Darius and our priority was to retool without completely rebuilding and making sure we had good pieces to build around for the future.
And on that point, Jennifer Rizzotti's right? The Connecticut Sun basketball that we've seen over the last couple of years has been just a continuation of them trying to win now. Yes, they tried with Jonquel Jones. It didn't work, right? They tried again this year or last season when they ended up getting Marina Mabrey. And it gave away quite a bit for Marina. But at the time, it did make sense because Connecticut was looking very, very good. What they needed more was some more offense. So you brought in someone who could be a starter, someone who could play big minutes, someone who could knock down some threes, and someone who would make stuff happen. In Marina Mabrey, you make that gamble because you knew that there was going to be all these free agents. You knew that players were likely wanting to try something different if it didn't work out. Unfortunately for Connecticut, it did not work out, right? So they do get that trade for Marina Mabrey. They bring her in, but unfortunately, they just can't make a championship happen. I don't know if if Connecticut will ever win a championship, but they're one of those teams that like had a long dynasty of being really, really, really good. Again, Alyssa Thomas and Jonquel, right? And then Jonquel left, and it was Dewana Bonner, Dewana Bonner. It was Alyssa Thomas. It was Brianna Jones, right? And they were just always there, just right there. But unfortunately, they were not able to ultimately win that championship, and so ultimately the team blows up. Something that we kind of knew was going to eventually happen anyway. But that was the thought around getting Marina was the fact that, hey, we need to win now. We want to be successful, and let's make some changes now that will help to actually get us this championship. Didn't happen, but they move. All right. So with that being said, after getting Marina Mabrey, now Connecticut's like, you know what? Actually, yeah, Marina, actually, we want to keep you. You are on you're on a deal for another year, right? So through the 2025 season, and then you'll be a free agent. We want to keep you on this roster because while we are rebuilding, we don't want to start completely from scratch. We like you as a player. You're still under contract. And even if you don't really want to be here anymore, this may be likely where you have to be because, again, it's a business decision. Here's what Jennifer Rizzotti actually had to say.
How much it comes down to for you thinking about, look, here's a trade request that we're going to make and we're going to honor today. And it goes both ways because you understand that another team could be in a similar situation tomorrow. And it is, obviously this is competitive, but it's also cooperative, right? It is that balance, no?
It is. And it's not always easy. And people have no idea what the full story is, right?
Mm-hmm.
When these things are happening behind the scenes. And sometimes they become public for whatever reason. And other times they don't, right? You said that. Some are honored and some are not. I think in the case of Alyssa, she was an 11-year veteran that played her entire career here. This is a conversation we had last year, about it potentially being her last year in Connecticut. And she had given us everything. Like she had poured her, entire blood, sweat, and tears into helping us win a championship. So that conversation's a little different, right? I can remember last year in the middle of the year when we were trading for Marina, I said to Morgan, this is why I can't be a GM. Because I'm a people person. Like, this is hard for me. Like, Marina is a terrific player. It was 100% worth trading for her for a ton of reasons. But when people ask me about like what we had to give up, they think I'm talking about our draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be honest with you, I actually cried when we had to give up Rachel Banham and Mariah Jefferson. Like, we're talking about two of the best humans in this league.
Two of the best humans in this world.
And yes, they weren't the guards at that moment that were going to help us win a championship. And so trading them away was the right decision for the basketball side.
No doubt.
But I said, I can't do this in this role because I'm heartbroken. I don't even know them that well, but I know they're great people. And so when you give up two great people, you give up a draft pick, it's because you know that person you're trading for is worth it. And we feel like Marina was worth it, right? She was worth it bringing in last year. We felt like she was the piece that we needed to get over the hump. It didn't work out for whatever reasons, not because of Marina, but because it wasn't our time.
Mm-hmm.
But, we felt like that was a good investment for us to make, with bringing her to Connecticut. And we've invested in her, not just financially, but like we've both, with her contract and off-season marketing agreement that we have with her that's ongoing right now, and time that our trainers have put in with her, and making her kind of the face of our future. And so, these things happen in all of professional sports that players change their minds, but we felt like we had to do what was best for the organization and all the moves that we've made. And so, keeping Marina for another season was something we felt like was a priority for us and something that we were going to make happen. And so it speaks to the value that we put in her and what we think she's capable of. It speaks to the fact that we hired a coach that wants to make her a focal point of our offense in a way that maybe she wasn't last year, right? So I think it's going to end up being a real big positive, and I think we're going to make this work, and we're not worried about it, no matter what's happening publicly. I think that Marina's a baller. I think she's competitive. It's the reason that we wanted her here, and I think she's going to have a great individual summer. And then, whatever happens in the future going forward, that will be hopefully a private discussion between Morgan and Marina as we kind of move through the next phase of Connecticut free agency.
So, yeah, Jen said a lot of stuff. One, yeah, she still thinks the trade was worth it because it absolutely was at the time. It absolutely was worth it at the time. And I just found it pretty interesting that she's like, she didn't want to give up Mariah Jefferson and Rachel Benham because they're awesome humans and whatnot, and they're great. They really are. And at the same time, there's someone who currently works for you that says, "Hey, I don't want to be here. I want to leave." But you're like, actually, nah, you're staying. You're staying because we gave up a lot for you. And we are not going to get the value that you are. We're not going to get that back in return from another team. And because of that, hey, you're here. It is what it is, right? We have a marketing agreement with you, right? If y'all don't know, players can sign marketing agreements with teams. Where they can get paid more than they get extra money that's not counted towards their actual salary, right? It's an extra amount of money that the player has to agree to do certain marketing things, maybe commercials, maybe it's certain stuff that players have to do. But that's something that Marina Mabrey has agreed on, right? This is a team that is bringing in basically a brand new roster, right? You do return Cena Charles, right, who started her career with Connecticut, left, and then now is coming back with a triumphant return. You have a brand new head coach, right? You have just new overall stuff happening in Connecticut. And Connecticut, they were looking to have somebody that their fans recognize, someone that their fans knew. And Marina Mabrey was one of those players. So it's like, hey, it seems with what Jennifer Rizzotti is saying, it seems that Connecticut is actually trying to build around Marina, which is interesting and something that has actually never happened to Marina before. From what she was saying, it was like, okay, well, Rashid Mezian, he's looking to build around Marina, right? He's looking for her to be a focal point of the offense, and I just find that very interesting because Marina Mabrey has never been a number one player on a team, right? When she was with Dallas, it was Arike Ogunbowale, right? When she was with the Sparks, it was just about everybody else. When she was with Chicago, it was Kalia Copper in 2023. In 2024, it was ended up being Kennedy Carter, right? Marina Mabrey has never been a number one. And so it is interesting that it seems like that's what Jennifer Rizzotti is saying, is that, hey, she is our number one. And also, she is a very valuable player, so we want to keep her, right? I do believe that that they shopped her around. And I do believe that they did not feel like they got the value. Speculation. But I do believe that. I do think they did their due diligence. Morgan Tuck, talked to people and was like, hey, what would y'all give us for Marina Mabrey? And clearly they didn't think that was enough for whatever they would have gotten in return. And Marina Mabrey is on the books still for the 2025 season. I don't see that changing anymore. I think it's one of those things where it's like, hey, it's like, suck it up, Buttercup. Suck it up because you have to be here, right? You have to be here. We just got you mid-season last season, and we gave up a lot. We see a lot of value in you. The new incoming coach sees a lot of value in you. We want to build around you just for this one season. And after that, hey, whatever happens, happens. Because, they're trying to be competitive without being totally trash. So I get why, from a business perspective, it makes sense to just keep Marina, because at least the fans will have some sort of continuity from last year to this year, at least somewhat. You do have someone who can put the ball in the hole and can make some stuff happen. Is she a number one? I don't think so. But she is a really, really good player, and she's under contract. And while you're going to suck this upcoming year, you don't want to be that terrible, right? You want an opportunity to try to compete for a playoff spot, and that's what the Connecticut Sun are trying to do, right? They bring in a lot of new players, a lot of unproven players, but you do have someone who is proven in Marina Mabrey. And so it's one of those things like, hey, it is what it is, suck it up. But I do say this. It is interesting considering the fact that, we might end up seeing a similar trade next year, in the middle of next season for Marina Mabrey. What I'm saying is the reason why Chicago ended up making that trade midseason in 2024 is, one, because Marina requested it, yes, but also because Connecticut was in win now mode. And so they were like, you know what, we're gonna make whatever small little changes we need to make to get this championship happening. I could see a situation where we're mid-season, almost at All-Star break, and there's a team that is like right there, and they're like, man, we think this is a championship team, that we have some great pieces here, like, but there's one thing we're missing, is just more 3-point shooting. We're just missing one small thing. I could see that team going to Connecticut and saying, hey, what are you willing to give up for Marina Mabrey? And I could see that a trade happening then. Because right now, teams clearly are not going to give Connecticut the value that they think they deserve for Marina. But mid-season, we might see a situation where Marina gets traded for future draft picks or something like that. And I could see Connecticut saying, you know what, we'll take you up on that. We'll take you up. But right now, Marina is with the Connecticut Sun for the time being. Again, that's not changing before the season starts, but it may change mid-season. But guys, WNBA is a business. It's a business. These teams are trying to stay somewhat competitive, and that's why Marina is staying with this program. We'll ultimately see what happens from here. But curious to hear what you all have to say in the comments below. Let me know what you think, and I will see y'all in the next one. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.